It's the Do Not Scratch Your Eyes post-match phone-in on X or Twitter or whatever it's called these days.
Well, good afternoon, good evening, or whatever time it is. It's coming up to Christmas, so who cares, because we've just got 3 points. Well, what did we think about that? What did you think about that? As ever, hit request. I thought interesting game. I thought most certainly, I thought Stoke impressed me. I thought Stoke looked well organised. I was very impressed with Sam Gallagher in the second half and very relieved that his headed goal was given as an offside. But we made it seemingly not easy for them. I thought Jeremy and Ngakia did fantastically well up against the form winger in Sorba Thomas on that side, on our right, their left, and equally, I thought, you know, their 42, which is Million Manouf, I thought had a very good game and gave Boller probably the hardest game he's had most of this season. But look, as ever, Merry Christmas to everybody. At least we finish it on a high, so come on and enjoy that particular bit. If you want to say good things, come on and say good things. If you want to say bad things, come on and say bad things. This is all down to you. If you listen to us, and it was lovely to see so many people down at both the bunker and at I think the fan zone, because the family zone was up the other end, but they still do the fan zone, which is the music's a bit quieter and the beer's a little easier accessible, which is great. Underneath the rookery, all good, nothing bad there, everything to enjoy. But whatever you want to say, here's the place you come on and say it. Just respect everybody's opinion, because everybody has a different opinion. That's all I want to say. But first of all, I'm going to start with in traditional fashion, I think, because I think this season we started with Rich because he gets us off to a flying start. There we go, Rich. 1-0, not probably something that people will be remembering for the highlights package, but it'll show up in the league table. What did you think of Stoke? What did you think of Watford today, sir?
Merry Christmas, Peter, to you and all the listeners. Yes, it was. Look, we've been crying out for a clean sheet. We've asked for one. We got one. We got the goal that anybody could have done. I thought. Anybody sitting there at half time, let's be frank about it, are not happy. I didn't look at social media at half time. Nope. The reception in the stadium is pretty poor, to say the least.
Yep.
I'm sure it wasn't complimentary. It was turgid. It was poor. I didn't think either team were particularly good or really looking to try and win the game. And I thought, oh, here we go again. And, you know, and it's Javi Gracia, and I'm thinking, oh, God, is this what we got to put up with? To Watford's credit, and a little bit to Stoke, but I thought Watford in the second half, ironically, probably without the ball as much as with it, were very good. I thought there was some notable, decent performances. I agree with you. I mean, Jeremy was just fantastic again, down both flanks, and was always a threat going forward. I thought he was outstanding. And to, I'm not the biggest fan of Matty Pollock, but the last 2 weeks have been good for Matty Pollock. We've played the hoofballers of Wrexham last week, who just launch it up to Kiefer Moore and try and get something. And I thought Matty Pollock sorted Kiefer Moore out very well last week.
Yeah.
And I thought today the game also suited him. They had a bit of land of the giants about them, Stoke, today. I think they thought that they could use every set piece they had in their armoury to try and break us down. And full credit to Matty Pollock and Max Elaine, who I thought were both really good at centre-back. Max Elaine is getting better and better, which is really the folly of why he's not been in the team. I mean, it's I just shake my head and whatever, but at least we're seeing it now. I mean, Abankwah was unfortunate to lose his place today. I thought he did very well last week, but you saw in Jeremy why that was the case, and full credit to him. The substitutions were strange substitutions. I mean, he took Tom Ince off when Ince wasn't fantastic, but he keeps the ball. Maybe his legs were going, and then for Mr. Luca to then go and score the goal and not even get chance to kick off again, I thought was very strange. I know the substitution was coming. To the credit, I thought Aaron Kunda, the bloke jumps like a salmon. There's no doubt about it. He's for those old uns like me, reminders of Stuart Scullion and Billy Jennings, who used to jump that high. He got up some fantastic headers, and very unlucky that Semedo didn't score with a guy getting off knocking it off the line. But ironically, I think we didn't really start to play until Stoke scored, albeit it was chalked off. Literally from them putting the ball in the net, we came alive. It was like the kick up the arse that we needed. And we then really went at them and thought, we've got to do better. And full credit at the end of the day, happy days. We needed a win. In some ways, I prefer a 1-0 today than a 2-1 because we needed that clean sheet psychologically. And you still get 3 points, whatever the score was. So keeping that clean sheet was as big as anything today, because it's one of those things off their backs, and the boys can go into training and think, okay, we got that little thing sorted out. Let's now work on it. I mean, we go to Leicester next. Ironically, we've had a caning down at QPR, just our luck. So they're gonna have to try and bounce back. So we've got to be on our mettle. But I'm not looking for fault tonight. It wasn't the greatest game. Let's not. No, but if we can have some of those results, we'll take them every day of the week. You've got to win your home games. It's as simple as that. We've won the game. I'm not convinced by Javi Gracia's football. I'm not convinced he really knows, his best team. Or I'm not a fan. It's a bit Ishmael football for me. I think we've got good players that are being a little bit held back, and I don't think he's using what I think are very good players. We've got a decent squad there. We're missing a couple or 4 now because 2 on the AFCON. But, it is what it is. Some people love Javi, and who am I to say differently? I think we need a proper coach to come in with those boys that we got there and really get the best out of them. But because it was mid-table fare today, 2 teams that looked mid-table championship. Yeah, I weren't that impressed with Stoke. I hear what you're saying. I think you can hear their fans grumbling that they weren't very happy in the last 20 minutes or so, and they seem very one-dimensional. And once you stop the crosses coming in, they didn't really have a lot going for them. I agree their winger's pretty tasty. I mean, I love Sorba Thomas. For a couple of transfer windows, it baffles me how we've never moved for him. He was playing at Huddersfield, for Christ's sake, and they picked him up for a song. He's such a good player. And I have no idea why we've never moved for him. But today, Jeremy gave a great game.
The player that I liked was their little number 10. Bae Junho. I mean, we play, and we've been talking. Obviously, there's been lots of talk about playing the 4-4-2, and we kind of played a 4-2-3-1, and then we switched back to a 4-4-2 in the in the second half. But for a long time, out of possession, we were 4-4-2 in terms of the shape that we had, and he would just basically drop off from the back line into the middle between our defence and back line, pick it up, and then go. And nobody picked him up, and I thought, oh my Lord. And he was part of, when he was alive, Stoke were alive. The first half an hour, I was really impressed with Stoke. And for whatever reason, they wilted. He stopped getting on the ball quite as much in the second half. And eventually they took him off. And I was like, oh, happy day.
Absolutely. And he ironically then brings Mendy on to fill exactly that hole, which I just scratched my head and went, oh God, a bit late now. But, and he did all right, old young Mendy. And no, I mean, Kit Piano had a better game. Fair play to him. He's been getting a lot of stick. And I thought he was Hector the Protector today, as his little nickname is. And he got around and looked after the back 2 as well. And both fullbacks were good. Mama was good. So there were some good performances. You can't, there's nothing to be too down about. I just feel that we're better than we give out, and that's a home game today, and we got to be better than that. But as I say, I'd rather a 1-0 win than a 2-1 today, because for all the reasons I've said, keeping a clean sheet, and they'll take something from that. And you don't get any more points for scoring goals at this stage. And it was a good 3 points against a solid Stoke team. that are probably like us, probably better at home than they are away. I haven't really studied them too much. Mark Robbins knows his stuff. They had a good start at the beginning of the season, and you can see that they've got some big players. I'm surprised they didn't play Ben Pearson in midfield today. That was a big surprise.
Yeah, agree.
And I was well pleased to see that. No, fair play to Watford. Good start. Go and get something at Leicester. Leicester and Norwich are tough old games at the moment. They've both got, well, other than today, Leicester, but up until today, they were getting some form. And then Norwich are certainly ticking over nicely. That ain't going to be any easy game, but we do all right at Norwich. So there's something to be optimistic about. Will Mr. Pozzo, will Mr. Duxbury, Mr. Nani do something in January to strengthen it and give maybe a few more players that Javi likes to work with?
Mm-hmm.
We may not necessarily like who they will be, but we certainly need something up front, and we probably need another enforcer in midfield. And you saw in midfield, crikey, Stephen Nzonzi playing for Stoke today. Okay, he was never going to last more than 60 minutes, but for the 60 minutes that he did play, he just completely controlled the game without really having to run. It was Kapuri, Decore type-esque for us, but the guy's getting on for 40, I think.
He's 37, yeah, absolutely.
Is he really? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And, I thought he'd retired, and he's come out and had a really solid performance in there, and when they took him off, it made a difference, and we capitalised. But no, I want to see a bit more of Iran Kundo. I thought he was bright when he came on today, and he's got that awfully lovely thing, which is pure and utter pace, and to stretch people at the front, for us is such a key thing that we just don't have the pace. Chak, bless him, I don't know what we're going to do with Chak. Somehow he's got to have a full pre-season in the middle of the season, and I just don't know how that happens, because he was literally on my flank in the second half, and he literally was dead, blowing on his arse, and he was almost begging to come off, and it took a while to get him off. But
I think he was quite influential in terms of cutting out two breakaways, and he was the one cutting back and getting in against. I can't remember who was getting away. It was Manouf, the fella on the right, the 42, played through the middle, and in he came. So I agree with you. Going forward, we're not quite seeing the old Georgie yet. No.
Absolutely, and it's a real shame for us, because he's such a key player. When he's right on it, it's a massive plus for us, because he pulls us away, he gets us up the other side of the field. And unfortunately, we just can't get him fit at the moment, and it's hard to get fit in the middle of the season.
Absolutely.
But hopefully, every minute he gets under his belt will be good. But no, happy Christmas to Watford. They gave us a result that we needed. They've got to keep working hard. They can't drop any standards at all. We need 9-10 players that are literally 8 out of 10 every game, because that is what we are. We've got to compensate for the way that we don't have enough goals in us, and we've not been keeping clean sheets. We've done that tick today. We've got the goal. If we can score a few more, happy days. But let's see what our owner. Let's see how serious they really are. Full credit to the crowd today. They got behind them. I've been critical of the crowds not turning out. Much better crowd today. Fair play to the fans that took up, and they responded when Stoke did. It was a bit quiet for a while, but that was understandable. That was the game for you.
Yeah.
No, good day. Well, nothing to particularly be critical about. Enjoyed it. It was a 1-0 win. We can enjoy our weekend now and see where we go from here.
Wonderful stuff. Look, Rich, have a great Christmas with the family. Hope everything goes well for that. And we will catch you, no doubt, on Boxing Day. Look at that, Rich, who's been coming in and getting us going at the start of most shows, because he's got an opinion. If you've got an opinion, you want to share it with us, just hit the request button. We will get you on. Thank you, as I said, to everybody who saw us earlier on today. I saw Mark today from YouTube, from this thing. you lot, and which was lovely. And he said, "Oh, fantastic! You should get more people, kind of on there." But of course, we're now across many different platforms. We kind of hook together the Spaces and the YouTube. Trust me, we're very, very happy with all the support we get, all the listens we get. It all goes into a podcast. You can all watch it later on as well if you want to. So whether or not you're listening to it live, whether you're listening to it later, thank you so much for all the support this year and every year. And it's all just about trying to bring supporters together, find out what your view is. Simple as that. Speaking of which, let's get Wendover on. Greg, sir, saw you before the game. Well, I think we were both in fine fettle prior to the game. How are you feeling now that the 90 minutes have gone and the whistle has been blown 3 times?
Yeah, it's a game of tight margins, and we've come the better half of the tight margin today.
Agreed.
I thought it was an attritional performance. I thought the defence was magnificent. Particularly Matty Pollock.
I think so.
My word, I thought he was absolutely outstanding. Elaine wasn't far behind him. Jeremy Ngakia just gets better and better. Yeah.
I know this will sound very, very wrong, right? And I appreciate that some people will hear this and go, "Oh, that's some kind of right." There was a moment in the latter part of the game, and my eyes aren't brilliant at the best of times. That's why I wear the bins. And he was down the far end, and it was going across the box or just outside of the opposition box and scooting across. And I swore it was Iran Kunda because he basically beat three players going across. And I'm 70 yards away. I presumed it was Iran Kunda. No, it was what we have all considered for 4 or 5 years, or certainly a fairly functional right back who was doing impressions of playing somebody who can play in a tight spot. I think he's getting better and better. I agree with you wholeheartedly.
No, I think there are some that aren't a fan of Luca Kierkegaard. I think he's getting better, Peter. I do think he played largely as a lone striker today, where we haven't seen him at his best. But I think he's improving. Lovely shot that the keeper just tipped over the bar, and he took his goal well. And I thought he was okay in transition. I think he's getting better. One area I will disagree with Rich. It's mid-table sides. Correct me if I'm wrong, but they've been in the top 6 for most of the season.
They have, but they're just dipping because they lost their last game and now they've lost this one as well.
They're dipping a bit, but we've beaten a good side. They're organised.
Yeah,
we've beaten a good side there. I think that's a little bit critical to say. I think both of those sides have got potential to be top 6. It was a good, hard fought performance, and now we move on to Leicester, who got spanked today.
Of course, it was Cifuentes going back to his old club, who he left in order to go to Leicester. So he was always going to get a warm welcome. And I think at halftime they were 4-0 up at QPR. So you can imagine he was getting brickbats. I shouldn't wonder. Be interesting to see whether or not he's on them, because he'll want to get a response to that, because the jury is definitely out on Cifuentes at the moment. He'd won a few recent games to push them back up the table. Again, it's so tight. Any 2 or 3 wins, pushes you back up, and suddenly you're back to being flavour of the month again. It happens at all the clubs as well as ours, doesn't it?
Peter, we're 10th. We've got a couple of wins on the bounce. We're in the top 6.
Yep.
As I've said a few times, the ingredients are there. A few tweaks are needed, and I agree with Rich. Another enforcer in midfield. And I mentioned 2 names to you before the game. I know I get excited in a window. I don't think there'll be big business this window. But Udinese have got 2 central midfield players who I think we'd like very much. Neither are getting any football. One is Sandy Lovrich, who I think Gina wanted to come to us in the summer, However, the Udinese head coach had a hissy fit and politically made him vice captain.
Yep.
Now, who goes out in a picture and publicises somebody's the vice captain? It's a nothing position in football. Maybe in cricket it is, but in football it's nothing.
Yeah.
He would be ideal. Lennon Miller, who they bought in from Scotland, hasn't had a kick. He'd be lovely in our midfield. He's a real holding midfielder, but can get, you know, he would be ideal. You know, one of two of those, or if both, would be lovely.
Yep.
If he's not going to, if Patrice isn't even not made the bench again today, we're light there, aren't we? I don't know if there are any right backs in the under 18s or the under 21s. Patrice might be shown the door, which would mean we have to bring in another right back. Yeah. So, and obviously there's this Emmanuel Dennis thing that keeps doing the rounds, and I've got no reason to doubt that the rumour of, you know, get yourself fit and you've got a contract would be true, because I don't think Gino would be able to resist it.
Mm-hmm.
Pick him up on, you know, he's out of contract, so there's no fee to pay. Salary wise, I think we'd be in the driving seat. And if Gino put him on an 18-month, 2-year contract and got him going, he might see another profit in him. So, you know, that would be Gino all day long, would it not? Yeah, I'm happy. You know, we've beaten a good side tonight. I'm happy. And I'd just like to sign off by wishing everybody a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year to everybody listening on Twitter, even the people that think I'm too positive. And the people that like what I say, Happy Christmas to you too. So happy Christmas, everybody. Happy Christmas to you, Peter. You do a wonderful job on this Spaces. The three of you produce a great podcast. You've brought a lot of people together. For instance, you know, Jason Rose and I wouldn't have shared a car last week if it wasn't for this community that you gents have built up. So well done to you all, and merry happy Christmas.
Oh, well, thank you very much indeed. There goes Greg, being positive there. I hope he's going to enjoy some real excellent takeaway tonight, because let's face it, Watford have won. He's on his way back to Wendover. Mrs. W batten down the hatches. He's going to be all amorous and enthusiastic. Let's get to Caden. Caden, sir, how are we doing, mate? You okay? You must be quite happy after a 1-0 win, surely.
Well, good evening, Peter. Hope you're well.
I'm very well, mate. Very well. How are you emotionally after that game? Because it was we've had some funny ones, and you know, today though we've come out the right end of a tight game. So, what do you think?
Well, I thought the first half was not great.
Yeah,
but the second half was brilliant. That is a proper performance. It wasn't pretty at all. We didn't run away with anything. It was pure grit, determination, fight and passion, and it prevailed. So very, very happy with that.
Good.
A couple of players who stood out to me, starting off the bench, I thought Musa came on and did a very good job today. Now, as you all know, I've been very, very critical of Musa Sissoko this season, but he had a job to do. He came on and he did it very, very well. I don't think it was the best idea to try and start holding the ball in the corner on 93, but apart from that, really good from him.
Okay, good.
Much improved from Vivaldo Semedo. Again, I've called him out for being very, very lazy, etc. But that wasn't today. He was energetic. He had a lot of passion. Yeah, brilliant from him.
Incidentally, just before we go to LK9, if that's okay, because some people might not have seen, but literally at the death, he basically kind of took a bit of a kick to the whatever, and basically fell down, and then the referee blew the whistle. He was down on the ground at our end, because I'm at the family end, for probably a good 5 minutes whilst everybody was celebrating the win and walking around, and all of the players all stood around him. He got up at the end and was walking off, but he doesn't look like he was in the best of frames, because of course once you've won the game, if you're okay, you get up and get on with it and enjoy the celebration. You don't tend to stay down. But he did get up, he did walk away. There weren't that many people left in the ground by that time, but I just wanted to stay with it just to see kind of how he was. But that's going to mean that the pressure will be on LK9. How you were just about to appraise us of what you thought of LK9 today, sir?
Yeah, well, a similar story. So first half, I didn't think he was great, and every time he has a performance like that, up until a certain point,
Yeah.
he plays like Rajovic, and I can't unsee it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of similarities, but he can score a really important goal. And he has got 8 goals before Christmas. And correct me if I'm wrong, Pete, but did Bayo do that when he was with us? Or I don't think Rajovic got 8 goals by the time Christmas came around either.
Let's be honest, if Bayo did, then 2/3 of them would have been against Sheffield Wednesday. So you know, that goal as an outlier skewed Bayo's statistics all over the place, which is fine, you know, because at the end of the day, as they always say, football, you know, or goals come in, you know, batches for players, and they go on runs and what have you. I think he works hard. I think we can see that he can control the ball, and I get the Rajovic comparison completely. But I don't think it does him. I don't think it's not to say it's not fair. I think he's better than Rajovic outside the box. I think he doesn't know yet how to play as an out-and-out number 9. And I know that sounds daft to somebody who's leading the line, but he's not the central point. He's not the fulcrum. He's not somebody we can play the ball into, get it, lay it off, etc. I thought Sam Gallagher looked fantastic when he came on, because he was looking to make runs in behind. He was looking to hold the ball. He had all the right movement. He needs that. But the one thing that he really knows what to do, which is odd for a 6'4" player, is he knows where to try to be in the box. He knows the areas, so he can score the goals. And they don't all. If you looked at his Denser goals when he was playing out in Denmark, and also when he was playing at Sweden as well, he gets in the right positions. He gets in the right place where the ball spills, and then he just finishes it. He's not quite. I get the Rajovic reference, because you want him to do more. You want him to be able to lead the line, and neither can quite do that. I've got more faith in that he can do it, but he needs to be shown how to do it. And you know, the ideal would be to have a Troy Deeney or a proper striker coach who can show him, this is how you do this. This is how you play this particular role, and get him to do that. The irony is, that's not why we've bought him. We've bought him because he had 29 goal involvements in 29 games, 22 goals, 7 assists. And somebody went, oh, that's a lot of goals. We'll buy him. And that's a great reason to do it. But his goals haven't come from him being a 6'4" burly striker who's very muscly, even though he's got the physicality to do it. He doesn't yet seemingly know quite how to dominate in the air, how to deal with those players on his back. And you saw that there was a bit in the second half. Sorry, I'm chatting here, Kate, and I apologise, but I'll come straight back to you, mate. There was Sam Gallagher against Kieran defending a set piece in the second half. And I just said to my lad Tom, I said, oh, just watch this. Physically, Kieran Gard should be stronger than him. He's a bit taller. He's got but the know-how, the nous, the having been round the block that somebody like Sam Gallagher has got, showed him. And Sam Gallagher is not the be-all and end-all. I'm not bigging him up, but knowing that stuff is really useful. I think we could really do with somebody who would come in as an attacking coach and really show him how to play the role. Really, really specifically, not the tactics, not anything else. How to learn to use his body in that specific way. And I think all 3 of them could do, because we've got all of these 3 young forwards who could benefit from that. Sorry, mate, I laboured on there. Carry on, sir.
No, it's all good. Yeah, I agree with you there. On to some other players.
Yep.
Cipriano, I thought was impressive today.
Agreed.
Has been shaky, but today I think we have seen a return to form for him. Iran Kunda, good off the bench. Again, another player who's been very, very out of form as of late, but a good cameo from him.
Good showing, yeah.
But I have to say,
Ooh.
and people are going to say, "Oh, Caden, you are so repetitive." But once again,
What's he going to say?
Pollock.
Yep.
Matty Pollock is man of the match, and I'll tell you why.
Tell me why.
His defending today, obviously it's his job, but it was world class. The tackle was a little bit stupid, I will say, but and again, people will call me stupid for this, but that was one of the best performances we have seen from Matty Pollock. Nothing really got past him. Nothing at all. And him and Elaine is a really good pairing. When Elaine came on against Norwich,
Yeah.
I was sceptical. I thought, why Elaine? But it happened. It worked, and it worked again today. So really, really good from Matty Pollock once again, and I will keep going on about Matty Pollock until people realise his quality again.
I don't think you necessarily have to keep going on until everybody, because that would need some kind of survey or consensus that yes, we all agree Caden was right. I think most people will have looked at that game and said, you know what, in terms of the top two performers, and we were talking about this earlier on, well, in my son's view, it was Pollock and it was Marma. I looked at Ngakia and thought he'd done well. I also looked at, exactly as you said there, Cipriano, and thought he did a really good, solid defensive job, and he simplified his passing. His passing, when he tries to be sometimes a little bit overly ambitious, can be a little bit wobbly at times, but I thought today he simplified it. And then when he did hit a couple of diagonal balls out to Mama, I thought he got it on the money. So, the longer the game went on, wasn't a pretty game, but I think more and more performances started to slowly stand out. So, no, I agree with you. I think Pollock, if you look at somebody in, look at Wilmot. Wilmot is now Stoke's captain, and we didn't persist with him. And he's basically the captain of still, even though we got a goal today, so far the best performing defence in the Championship, I believe. So, look, there's players who are going to be pinging the ball around all day and are going to be judged on whether or not they do that well or they do that indifferently, and that's fine. They'll have technicians and ability. When you look at a player and you want character and you want somebody who'll put his head in where it hurts and just make the defensive decisions, I think we could do a lot worse than Matty Pollock, and I appreciate that might divide the room, as you say, on occasions. But no, mate, I am solidly in the Caden camp in terms of that opinion, sir. I agree with you wholeheartedly.
Yeah, he was just world class. And Ngakia, I thought he was really good today. Originally, I thought probably a bit harsh to drop Abankwah considering his performance last time out, but today it proved why Abankwah was dropped for Ngakia. Once again, Ngakia has a really good performance. Hasn't really put a foot wrong all season. Has got to be up there in our Player of the Season contention.
I agree.
Along with Pollock and along with Bola.
I agree. I think in some ways you're absolutely right. Very sorry for James Abankwah having come in and done well. Got that completely. But if you think about it, if you or I think about Abankwah, we think centre back before we think right back. The right back is his contingency covering position. He'll get a game in there. But I think coming up against Zorba Thomas, who has been the absolutely on fire winger for Stoke, I think going with somebody who defends against that style of player more often than the centre back James Abankwah. I think it was a bold move, because if it had gone wrong, and there's nothing to have stopped Zorba Thomas from doing what he's done all season, and creating assists and getting goals. I think I agree with you. I thought Ngakia did very, very well. And I think he's been doing well all season. And I appreciate there's been a debate about that on social media. And hey, that's okay. That's what social media is there for. Hopefully, on the nice side, have a debate about it. Do you think he's good? Do you think? For me, he's having the season that we'd have always hoped he would want to have. And that a lot of that has come with his fitness, not getting the injuries, therefore playing. And as I say earlier on, in my old frail dotage and wonky eyes, thought for a moment he was running around like Iran Kunda, and I can give him no further or no better praise for that in the attacking half. And then he just turned around and went, "No, I'm coming back. Come back here and do my defending. All good, nothing bad."
Excellent. Yeah, and just before I shut up and go and hide away again, and see you next year.
Yeah.
I'm just going to comment quickly on a couple of things. One, Selvik today, really good. I wasn't so confident with him before his injury and his first game back.
Okay.
But yeah, he played very, very well today. And finally, just before I say my final point, Mama. Now, I am a massive fan of Othman, and I've said that to everyone. And I think everyone probably would agree with me there.
I can hear the word "but" flying in here. Go on.
There's just something in his game that needs a lot of refinement. Now, we saw it a lot today. He does the flashy stuff when he has the option for a very, very simple pass. And that infuriated me, because there is the option for the simple pass that would actually aid us, rather than doing all the flashy stuff, giving them the ball back, they're in possession, and then we're back to square one. So that needs a lot of refinement. But overall, I thought he was very, very good. And just before I go, as Rich and Wendover said, I hope you all have a very happy Christmas and a really nice start to the new year. You Orms.
Lovely stuff. Lovely stuff. Well, there goes Caden, who finished off the year for the Hornets Talk podcast. But they'll be back in 2026 with more offerings, more often on a Monday night on Twitter Spaces for you to maybe kind of get involved in. So look out for what they're going to be doing. Let's get to Iggy McGregor. Iggy, sir, are you there?
Hey,
how you doing?
Good. It's great to be on the podcast again.
Oh, it's lovely to have you here. Absolutely. Come on, what were your thoughts? We've been dissecting literally everything from hither and thither, but enjoying the 3 points. But what are your thoughts on today, the season, or whatever you wish to mention?
Yeah, I'm really happy with it. I wasn't at the game today.
Okay.
Because I'm a bit unwell.
Oh, sorry about that.
So unfortunately couldn't go to the game. But no, it was great. I watched it on the telly.
Good.
I just want to make a point about the tactical flexibility.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of argument. I mean, we spoke about it last time. We spoke about 4-4-2, 5 at the back, and I think although it's a 4-4-2 on paper, today you had Chak coming into midfield, you had Kiprianu dropping in to make a back three. So I think football is getting increasingly. Can you still hear me? By the way?
Gotcha. I'm just wrapped listening. Yeah, go on, carry on. Are you there, Iggy? Are you there? Oh, we were going so well then. Right, let's hope I've not jumped out of everything. Let me just double check. Let me just quickly double check, because sometimes it happens. No. That seems right. Let's see if we can get Nelly on, and we will see, and hopefully we can get back to Iggy after. Nelly, are you there, sir? Nelly, are you there? Nope. I'm not doing well. I may have to jump out and jump back in again here. Who knows? Justin, are you there, sir? Can you hear me? Yeah, I'll take that as a yes. That's fine. Right. Let's try and get back to Iggy and see what we can do there. We're having fun, ladies and gentlemen. Iggy, are you there?
Hey, can you hear me again?
I got you loud and clear. Sorry. When everything goes wrong, and let's face it, we do run this show basically from this phone. It's blue. I'm showing it to everybody on there, and therefore it can go tits up at any time, which is a nice thing to do. You were saying, and I think you were kind of intimating that whilst it's a 4-4-2 at the start, it's become increasingly flexible or fluid within the game. Is that your thought?
Yeah, well, I just thought I don't think the more solid defensive performance was a fluke.
Okay.
I think Javi did things tactically to help us hold on to the ball a bit better, with Chak dropping into midfield,
yep,
and putting Cipriano back there to drop in and help the centre backs in the build up. And also, he was excellent today, mopping up everything.
Yep. No, I agree. I think he did. And I think we started, and because people do get fixated, and I'm just as bad as anybody else, if not thoroughly worse. We kind of get fixated on formations, but a formation isn't a system. You know, how you play from that rough approximation of a starting shape. And I thought we played like a 4-2-3-1 because, as exactly as you said, Chak playing deeper. Now, I was having a chat with Mark and also my son Tom today before the game, and I thought, well, what we'll probably see is Tom Ince playing in the middle, and they both went, "Oh, you don't know what you're talking about. You're going to see Grazia. No, you're going to see you're going to see Chak Fatadza." They were right. I was wrong. But you're right. He kind of dropped into midfield. But also, as you say, you get Cipriano dropping a little bit deeper too. It can be quite flexible, can't it?
Yeah, but there was still something charming about, it's still 4-4-2 on paper. 4-4-2, 1-0, big man gets the header. It's very old-fashioned, but I enjoyed it a lot. I like Javi. I think we have to stick with someone eventually. And he's doing better than Petzolano was doing. I think he will... Cleverly arguably was doing as well at this point, but I think we have to stick with someone, and I'm hoping it could be Javi because I'm exhausted of the constant merry-go-round.
Absolutely. No, I agree with all. I agree with absolutely everything you've said. And it doesn't mean that Javi's perfect, but it does mean that he might be sort of pretty good for Watford. And let's face it, the constant churn and change and squad, made for one manager, taken over by another, and is it right? Is it wrong? A little bit of stability would help, wouldn't it?
Yeah, and I think someone made the point that he doesn't improve players. And I'd kind of disagree with that. And I think the other thing is he's building a meritocracy in a way that, Kevin plays badly and he's out, and Elaine comes in and looks composed on the ball and plays well, and he keeps his place in the side. And, if you play well, you keep your place. And if you play badly or don't perform in training, or sometimes there's other things going on in the case of Mendy or Irankunda or things like that.
Yeah.
But he's building a meritocracy, which I think is good, because before there's been complaints or suspicions around players not being picked entirely on the basis of performance.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree. I think the flip side to it is, and it's always useful to debate it because it's either side of the same coin. I was at a thing the other week. I mean, it was the other month now, and there was Troy Deeney chatting, and there was also Adi Mariappa, who were good friends, and it was a lovely night, and they were kind of chatting about various bits and bobs. And it was one of the things they got onto was talking about Grazia, and Troy basically, he just refers to him as, he's a gentleman. He's really good at what he does. He's a good coach. He's a good man manager. His support team are all there. He's thoroughly impressed with the guy. And it was Maps who basically said, if there's one thing you can aim at him, is he tends to kind of stick with the same players a lot. And I think that was that's the thing, is that when you, in the modern game, you've got the squad, and when players aren't playing, you do need to make those changes. But as you say, there has been examples of that. Kevin, we've now gone to Elaine. if we can see more of that, as you describe, meritocracy based, sort of, kind of you're rewarded, or let's not call it punished, but rested, and somebody else is given the opportunity if you're not performing at that level. Look, that's fair enough. That's fair enough. We saw Mendy come on.
Like a Christmas elf.
I know,
like a 5'6" Christmas elf.
Yeah. Here we are. We're playing Stoke. We're all 6'4". We're going into the last 2 minutes. Let's take off loser and bring on the lad who's 5'6". He'll help us when they hoy the ball into the box, won't he? But he got about. But it would be lovely to see some of those players who haven't made it in and around the squad be presented with, an opportunity to prove their worth, also, wouldn't it?
Yeah, that's true. And there are definitely some players in the squad who you got to feel have been unfortunate to, well, not feature at all in some cases, really, or not be given their chance. Or I thought Semedo, on that, I thought Semedo looked good. He seems to have most of his action after the full-time whistle. I mean, I think a week ago he scored after the full-time whistle, and there was some drama at the end. I don't know what was wrong with him, but he looked hurt. I didn't see what happened, but he.
Well, I mentioned it a little bit earlier. I stayed to like 5 minutes past to kind of watch kind of how he was. They had all the medical staff came over, all the team were over, looking quite seriously concerned. I don't know if he was concussed or there was nothing kind of telling. He wasn't kind of going off with a shoulder kind of dislocated shoulder or anything like that. It didn't look like that. He got up and was walking at the end. I just think it might have been he might have taken a god awful whack and stayed down. But hopefully, fingers crossed, wheel him into the old medical department, stitch him up, and kind of pat him on the back and get him running out against Leicester in the second half, no doubt, because we do need the forward options, don't we?
Yeah. But on the game as well, doesn't get too carried away. It's like it's 1-0 at home. Like, we have to be winning those games. But I was just happy to get a clean sheet, to be honest.
Good stuff.
I'm more buzzed about the clean sheet than the goal or the result, even, to be honest. I might have been happy with 0-0, and obviously not. But
well, look at it. All season, we've been conceding the first goal and then fighting our way back up the mountainside to kind of make a win or a draw harder than it was. Today we didn't concede the first goal. It was a game of absolutely fine margins. We nick one. There's 3 points, everybody. Doesn't actually need any more than that on occasion. So, was it the perfect performance? No. Will it live long in the memory? No. Will it live on the table as big as any other 3 points we'd win? Absolutely, it will. So we will enjoy that and just take it from there and move it forward. But lovely stuff, Iggy. Lovely stuff. Thank you very much. Have a great Christmas and see you after the Leicester game. Let's get to Johnny Hornet, who I imagine will be motioning on train towards Leeds. Johnny, how you doing?
Yeah, not bad, Peter. How are you?
Oh, all right, mate. I'm enjoying the 3 points. If I may, could I put Carl Wilson's comment to you and see what your reaction to it is? He says, we all want our players to be all-rounded when it comes down to it. We all want our defenders to defend with Pollock and our forwards to score, which K9 does. Look at Lineker, outstanding going forward, but does his work in the box. Do you think we've got a squad who are functional now in the areas, and we can kind of simplify the game for them and hopefully get more results? What are your thoughts on that, Johnny?
I think we missing with a really. Yeah, can you hear me? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I'm just going for a tunnel, but I think we're missing like a really wily championship hard on midfielder.
Yeah,
a few players. Maybe up front we could do someone like Ollie McBurney, but to be fair to Kierkegaard, he's been knocking the goals in. It just didn't really do anything before that. So it's kind of ironic. Maybe he saw that he was going to be substituted, but I think I better do something here. But overall, I thought that game was pretty meh, to be honest. Like it was a bit similar to the Norwich game, really. Like woke up early in the morning, cricket pool was pretty poor, and I thought, hopefully Watford can cheer me up today. And probably there might be a bit of background noise because you bang on and we just called out of King's Cross when you came to me, so he was making all the announcements. But I thought thought the game was pretty naff, to be honest. I wasn't really knowing what to kind of expect today, but I think we're sort of hanging in there, aren't we? We're getting the results, but not playing particularly well. So I kind of feel if they could bring in some reinforcements in January, and I think you suggested a few of the Udinese players, which Wendell Horn was suggesting. I think you definitely need that in midfield and something else up front. But you've got to take the wins when you can. But I think we just need to see improved performances. I haven't really seen the only game where I've seen is really kind of, really stamp our authority on the game and find a few goals in this Middlesbrough. I don't think I've really ever seen any other performances like that. Have you?
No,
you remember any?
No, I think that's very fair. Most games have been attritional. They've all been fine margins. But I think there was an interesting point that Andrew Stocks makes here. He says, worked hard for that, better game management. And I think, we might have looked oddly at a couple of the subs, especially bearing in mind he bought Mendy on, who we just didn't realise was still alive.
Yeah, I thought your comment about this little lad running on when at the end of the game, I thought that was quite pertinent.
Well, it was like one of the mascots had got back out and gone, I'm going to have a game. I love that, but whatever. He pointed out, this is Andrew pointing out that Stoke had very few chances, which does make progress against the side who've got there. So is it pretty? No. Is it fantastic to watch? Of course it is. It's football. It's significantly better than going to the Harlequin, as somebody has pointed out in the comments. However, is it like watching Man City play or Liverpool in their pomp? No, but very few clubs are. So I think we've got something to build on. We just need to build on it and stop getting one-off results. We need to turn some of those draws from that. We've now only lost 1 in 10. Okay, but too many of those have been draws. Better game management gives you more wins, more points, sends you further up the table. Could be looking at potentially something more exciting than we've had to put up with for the last couple of years in the Championship, which is threatening to do something, threatening to get into the playoffs, but never really anything materializing. It would be really nice to see something build on that, wouldn't it?
It's a bit of a rinse and repeat, isn't it? I mean, I think we were probably saying the same thing with Tom Cleverley last season. They didn't back him in January, and then you finish mid-table. I mean, and I think if Gino is serious, then he needs to bolster that midfield and give a few more options up front. I mean, Semedo is fine, but my brother just always says he's a youth team player. Really, he shouldn't really be on the pitch. I mean, the only criticism I've got of him is when he is coming on late in the game.
Yeah.
He doesn't really chase the ball down, put their players under pressure like Deeney would do. And I'd like to see a bit more of that from him. I don't know whether that's a bit critical or not.
No. It's the point is, this is everybody's opinion. So it's not, is it critical? Is it overly critical? Who knows? But it's how you're thinking about this. And then we'll kind of mooch it and push it back and forth. I think there are times when he shows he can. And then there are other times when we are frustratingly not doing that press. In the talking about the formations and stuff earlier on, we would basically sit in and around the sort of the middle of the pitch, almost either side 10 yards of the halfway line. It was almost like the defenders will come up to one part of the centre circle, and we'll have Kieran Gard no further forward than the other 10, and then they'll push the ball around the back, and we don't seem to press until they try to play through us. When it comes in the second half, it's all got a bit looser and a bit more ragged, and you want somebody to come on with energy and go and shut them down. Go and shut them down. So I think it's a fair acknowledgement that he doesn't as much as you'd like, certainly.
Yeah, just two things on that, because I think my brother, the chance my brother in the first half, and he said Stoke looked like the home team. We almost willing to hit them on the counter, and I can't remember if it was you or Wendell was saying he's a second half manager.
Yeah,
Javi. And the only contradiction to that's probably been the Middlesbrough game. Really, we always seem to do better in the second half. I probably just would have liked to have seen a bit more energy in that first half. But wins are wins. You've got to take it. I was a bit gutted because I had to leave the ground a bit early because I've got the earlier train from King's Cross tonight because they've rejigged the timetable a bit. But I was kind of like to stay right to the end, but so I had to hover it around the exit to the stadium. But the sort of security health safety.
Oh, Johnny, I think we're just losing you, mate. I think we've lost you, Johnny. Sorry there. Well, look, Johnny has very good calls. I mean, let's be honest. He has to get back up to Leeds after every home game. Fantastic, Johnny. Thank you so much for your calls. This year and all the time, it's been absolutely splendid hearing everybody's opinions and what have you. Let's see if we can get Nelly on, and then we're going to get into these 5 words and into all the YouTube comments, and then into the long forms and all of that other malarkey. I like the word malarkey, and I wish to use it more in 2026. Nelly, are you with us? Nope. Nelly does not appear to be with us. I shall... Nelly, are you there? Nope, he seems to have gone. Never mind. Right, let's get across to... Let me think quickly. Let's get across to... Let's get across to look at these 5-word reviews, shall we? Look at this. This is better stuff. I'm getting there somewhere. Bear with me, everybody. We're going to go through everybody's 5-word reviews because that's what we like to do. Frank said, "You know the drill now." I imagine that that will involve some enthusiastic movement and a pot noodle, no doubt. There we go. Just to do that. Sorry, we've got a bit of background there. Never mind. WFC Dawny, hello Dawny, who's Northeast Hornet, says clean sheet, 3 points, excellent, very good 5-word review. I like that very much indeed. Cobbers says better than shopping in the Harlequin. That's my exact point. Was it a good game? Yeah. Well, are we going to remember an awful lot about it? No, but that said, it's like that with a lot of games. Dave Lavender, a win and a clean sheet. Christmas has come early. He said, Silderman just realised Mama's girlfriend is a motherfucker. Oh, I see, because he's called Mama. Yeah, that's very good. I still think we can do something with Bohemian Rhapsody for him. I think it's Mama just killed a man. Let's have a look. Put a boot against his head. Left my studs up. Now he's dead. Mama, the game had just begun. I don't know where we're going to go with this. You'll need to write more things for us. Gratia's Gurn, which is Brian Edwards. Hello, Brian. He says adjustment window, sign a striker. Yeah, well, I've heard doubt now about the aforementioned striker I thought we were going to be bringing in. That may not happen. Who knows? This is the championship, folks, says Pete Joylis Jones. Hi, Pete. Thanks for all the comments this year to you and everybody. Gaz West, Northwest Horn says win, clean sheet, Merry Christmas. Very good indeed. Brian's back. Pollock and Selvig, very good. I'm not keen on Selvig's punching all the time from every wide delivery. It does leave me nervous, but hey, it's effective. So I'm no criticisms today, because he's even made Simon Parkin say, "Oh my God, clean sheet." So well done. Willie Eckert, like hello Ken, says not pretty, but 3 points. Brian's back, clean sheet, completed it, mate. There you go. Bit of in-betweeners fun. A win is a win, says Alan WFC. Harrod Allen. Vic Bake, Vic. He's back and says deserved win against tough defence. Yeah, I mean, I don't think we can beat ourselves up about being the right side of those margins, in a tricky game, because if a team comes to stop you scoring and you scoring, you've sort of done the job, haven't you? No, it was a tough defence, and I thought they carried a threat. I don't think Manouf and I don't think Sorba will do anything else for you other than carry the threat, and I was thoroughly impressed with young, who am I kidding? Sam Gallagher. Young in comparison to me, but then again, most people are. Michael Froome says, do love a 1-0 win, indeed. Clean sheet and a win, says we're all Hornet Steve. Willie Eckers likes back again. Merry Christmas, one and all. Look at this. We're all full of the joys of Christmas, aren't we? Clinical Kieran Guard and clean sheet, says Casper Campion. Hey, Casper. Andrew Stocks, I just mentioned earlier on, but he said, worked hard for that. Better game management. Stoke had very few chances. Progress. I thought it was very few chances, really, at either end, but sometimes you look at the stats and go, oh, actually, we had quite a few chances, but they were blocked or we didn't quite work them. And I thought in the second half, we always seem to be, as Johnny was just saying, they're a second half team. One of the things that I think it was Tom Cleverley had said previously was when we were in the Premier League, one of the things that Grazia wanted us to do was stay in the game for the first half and make it a second half game, because nerves come in, the game stretches, things might happen. But the better game management, I think it works out when the goals don't go against you. And sometimes that's circumstances, but you've got to credit the man when it occurs. Rob Sterry says he doesn't even drink sangria. Oh dear. We might. Well, I did see that Jeff Doyle of Three Counties Radio gave him that bottle of sangria at the start, and they've agreed to kind of drink it together at the end of the season. So that might be something to look out for on Three Counties. No Doumbia up front looks worrying, says George. Iggy McGregor says, defence, big man, header, Bosch, lovely. Taste the Biscuit 979 says, just what the doctor ordered. Oh, let's face it, if you can't get a doctor to order that sort of stuff, then what can you do? What can you do indeed? Let's get across then to the let's go there. Here we go. Let's get across to the YouTube comments because we've had loads of those in. Thank you so much. I was saying a little bit earlier on, talking to Mark Schofield earlier on outside the ground, which was lovely. And he said, you should have more people that you listen to us in whatever fashion way, or indeed if you want. I mean, obviously don't if you don't want to. But you know, the audio of this goes out as a podcast. We've got loads of people listening to that. We've got lots of people listening on YouTube, which we've only just started this season, getting all of that together. We've got lots of people watching on Twitter and putting comments through Twitter, and of course listening on Twitter Spaces. So you know, if you want to come on and have the conversation, it has to be via Twitter Spaces, but we like going through all of these comments just to, hey, it's your voice, why wouldn't we say it? Pete Thorpe says Luca is a top finisher. OJ says what a relief, but I still don't think we did enough. Lucky win thanks to a very awakened Kieran gone. Absolutely. He also says better Christmas upcoming with a win. Quite right too. Quite right too. Ryan says, hi Pete, how are you? Ryan, how am I? I'm 3 points better off than I was at 3 o'clock. So that's good. That'll do me. Not going to be able to make it down to the women's game tomorrow because Christmas and other various things and events, etc., going on. But the women are playing down at Bournemouth, which is in Ringwood. If you know, near Bournemouth is your part of the world. So do get down and cheer them on if possible. And good luck to them because they're top of the table going up against top of the table. There's nothing more I'd love than to be able to make that game. Grazia's Gurn. This is Brian again. He says, we beat a team who were not trying to win. They were set up defensively not to lose, but they did lose. We did get the goal. It is the finest of margins, and games are 90 minutes decided on those one or two or few moments. We got it. They didn't. Perhaps actually beating a team who don't turn up to be overly ambitious and therefore leave big gaps. Maybe that's as much to celebrate as beating a team who's ambitious and come to try to beat us. You know, hey, they tried it. It didn't work. You know, good luck to them. I was quite impressed with them. I think they're solid, and I think they've got the balance of going forward right. And I think Mark Robbins will do there what he was doing at Coventry. Just give him time. Give him time. Where do you currently sit at Vicarage Road? Asked Ryan. As where I sit in the lower Graham Taylor stand. Merry Christmas from Ryan. I'm in the family stand. On the well, of course, it's on the Graham Taylor side. The other side is the away end. What am I talking about? Mark says, a very welcome win. Thank you very much indeed for that. Nathan Harrison says, Merry Christmas, DNSYE team. 3 points. Let's go. Couldn't agree with it more. HJ 2025 says, Happy Christmas, Pete. And all at DNSYE, a great 3 points, which is what counts. Well, we consider you all as part of DNSYE. It hopefully it's more than just, you know, well, God, you got to hope it's more than just me, Justin, and Carl talking nonsense, haven't you? You know, who wouldn't want that? Gracia stifles all of our attacking flair. We won despite his tactics, says Brian. Brian does not like Javi Gracia. I think it is fair to say. He said he didn't like him the first time. He's not particularly enjoying this one, and he's there. However, when it's a game of fine margins against a team who've had a decent season like Stoke, okay, you don't want to give any credit anywhere for it. That's absolutely yours to do. That's no problem at all. Much better balance. Absolutely loving the clean sheet, says Ben. Victor Spencer says, a forward to help out Pirot from Leeds. As some do, is not the best. Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, Semedo. Sorry, so I got it. Semedo isn't the best. No, he's not. He would certainly be a player who would you potentially want to bring in if he could do. If he's not getting games in the Premier League, and I suppose Pirot falls in that sort of probably, you know, really, really good enough for the Championship. Is he good enough for the Premiership? Who knows? So could he be done? HJ 2025 is back and says, seriously, we can't change our head coach every 10 to 15 matches. Oh, HJ, of course we can. Have you not been looking at the last decade? Let's have a look there. Dave Holman says, hunting down second place. Like most things in life, it's all about peaking at the right time. Forza, he says. I like that. Rich, how you change your tune. I didn't think he did. I didn't think, Dave, I thought he was saying, there were, some bits that were, yeah, but look, we've come the right side of it. We've got it. Were there still mistakes in there? Of course. Were there as many as there have been? Was there so much self-inflicted? I don't think there was, because last week against Wrexham, and I can't remember who put it, but it was a really nicely worded thing, which was when we scored, it was a result of, they were sort of a bit lucky in terms of it. And when Wrexham scored, it was as a result of our bad defending. We didn't get exposed with that ball over, kind of through, as we did with Wrexham last week. We didn't get found out against a set piece because we had people on the edge of the box, and we had, people winning first and seconds a little bit more. Not necessarily really showy and exciting, and stuff that will make the the edit on Game of the Year awards. But effective enough to get something. In Yavi, we trust. Rich, get on the magnesium, he says. I like that. I like Rich, get magnesium. I don't know what it'll do for you, but take some and report back. John Myers says, hey, we didn't concede first. A nervy win, but a great start to the festive season. Merry Christmas, everybody. Come on, you Warns. Absolutely. OJ's back. Not bad to win. Remember, Stoke has the best defence in the Championship. Carl Wilson, what a good, fine battling performance. Very pleased. K9 got a lot to improve, but he can score. I mean, we were talking about Rajovic earlier on. I couldn't see where Rajovic was going to suddenly transform into a better player. I think Kierkegaard's got the ceiling. He's got a higher ceiling in order to be able to do that. But to do that, he's got to have someone to show him how to play the position. Dave Farnham's back again. He says, fabulous 3 points and fully deserved. If we could have held out in Wales and scored the penalty against the Owls, we could or would be third. We've said it all day, and I think it's fine margins. The other way against the Owls, if we'd scored the penalty against the Owls, yeah, if we hadn't conceded to the Owls, it goes either way, but it just shows close margins. If we can make incremental improvements, then great. Many of us will hope for it. Brian doesn't expect it because he's not a believer in Yavi and everything he's doing. And there'll be some who are, and there's some who aren't. Let's wait and see what happens. Have a chat in the meantime. It's all good. It's all good to be debating. OJ, only 4 teams have lost less games than Watford this season. Coventry, Middlesbrough, Ipswich in the top 3, and Preston, who are on 5th. Well, that's when I said about, and I was chatting with my son earlier on, 10 games now. It was 8, it was 9, it's now 10. 10 games and 1 defeat in that particular period does mean that's absolutely the case. But still, the margins, the more of those draws, because there were a lot of draws in there, the more we can turn into wins. Then exactly what we heard earlier on could be, as Dave Harmon said, those margins into third. So let's just kind of improve if we can, those incrementally, and each little step along the way, each game. If we can do something, then it's there. Otherwise, we're looking at a repeat of what we've had, for the last 2 to 3 seasons in the Championship, which is threatening to do it, not doing it. Wouldn't it be fabulous to have a season where we could say we did it? Agree with Wendover about K9, says HJ. OJ's back. Only 4 teams have lost less games. Oh, I've already read that. What am I talking about? I'm going backwards and forwards and getting entirely lost. User ULM ME6RZ4B, which I think you'll agree has a ring to it, says shame Leicester got thumped today. No doubt they'll be fired up by Boxing Day now. Yeah, it's always the way. It's always the way. Ben B6 says Lovrich is key. Lovrich is the midfielder we were highly linked with from Udinese, who was made the vice captain in a very sort of public showing and then didn't come across. He's hardly been playing. The other player is Lennon, who they signed from Motherwell. Italy have signed a number of Scottish midfielders. It's almost become like a trend. So you had, what was his name? Ferguson. Lewis Ferguson went from Aberdeen to Bologna, lit up the place, done really well for Bologna. They liked him a lot. And suddenly you had then a next step up, which was, obviously Scott McTominay, but also the little Scottish lad, Billy Gilmore from Brighton, once of Chelsea. Both of those doing really well, obviously in the Napoli Scudetto winning team as well. So they went and signed Miller from Motherwell, And you would think that he would be somebody who would be, really useful defensive midfielder, but can go box to box as well. So yeah. Any number of options. Keep on being positive, Wendover. We love you, dude, says Dave Harmon. Well, why not? It was good to see Aaron Kunda come on, says Mark Schofield, and make an impact with his pace. So he nearly provided an assist for Semedo. Yeah, he did. I thought he was lively. I thought he did well. And more of that. I still think he looks better coming in through the middle a little bit better than on the left for me personally, and I was glad to see that Marma kept his place and he did that. We can all agree that the team are playing for the manager and trying, something you haven't always been able to say, says HJ. Lovely. Dave Harmon, Pollock is good enough for England, an England outsider for the World Cup. I want whatever Dave is having of a Saturday night. I want a point of that. I like that. LK9 and Rajovic are very different players, in my opinion. He knows how to finish and score good goals, says HJ. Like this a lot. Clean sheet is absolutely massive for us, says Watford FC 1881. 5 extremely difficult league matches coming up. When is it not? It's always in the Championship. Let's just hope that we can get something out from it. Which is very good. There's another. Oh, blimey! Mark and various people. Was it Ngaki who was surrounded by all the players at full time? Didn't look great. No, that was most definitely Semedo. I can tell you that much. We got a come on New Orleans from David. A win is a win. Who's this guy, MB fella? Says Watford 1881. Mendy centre back on the bench today. Maybe we'll see him sometime soon. Somehow I doubt it, frankly, but we will see. We will see. Stoke goal was 100% offside too. Lovely stuff. Hornet 1066 says Matty Pollock, constituency, one of our, I think that means consistently one of our best players. My son doesn't rate him, who is a season ticket holder. But look, that's the lovely thing about football. It is a game of opinions. There are so many variables in a game of 90 minutes, in 46 games in a season. You will look at people will look at one person or look at one player and think that's absolutely everything I want in a player, and how they conduct themselves and how they play and the position they play and how they play it. Others won't. Hey, that's fine. We got the 100% offside. Shock horror. Mendy on the bench. There we go. Mama does like a pass to loser. Hope he understands that there are other players on this side. There definitely is a bit of a Moroccan axis going on with the two of them, and that was all that. Excellent stuff. Well, thank you very much indeed for all of that. Let's just see if we can't quickly go back to some of the long forms. Here we go. Right, let's go back to Twitter and let's get to the long forms and see what everybody has said. We've got 60, not too many of those. That's good. That's very good. So let's take that off there and go through those. Here we go. Selvik. Selvik left punch says Selvik's punching is preferable to Backman's ball at feet disaster class. I'm not going to disagree with that. That's Glory Horn. Oh, that's Brian, who's reimagined himself in Selvik's left punch. He prefers that to Backman. I don't think those two were mutually exclusive. I don't think we have to have one or the other. But if we do, that's 50 kinds of hell. Paul Fiander Turner said, missed it all today, as all the family were at the Panto. Hope all of you have a fantastic Christmas. Come on, New Orleans. Well, Paul, you'll be glad to know there's 3 points, and we didn't have to come behind you. See what I did? No, okay, all right, never mind. Worth a try. Brian's back again. Special mention to Rio Wolf, as he literally took one for the team today. He dodged the match, we won, and didn't concede. As Rio, this result is on you. How is that due to? Is Rio claiming some kind of assist for this? I like this. Dan Lyon said, "I forgot what it feels like not to concede." No, yeah, this is true. Watford Limericks will finish with that. Caden K9 is nothing like Big Raj. Totally different players, says Wendover Horn. Carl Wilson says, get the basics right and the rest will follow. And today we got the basics right. He also says, very happy we showed a battling quality that we haven't seen for a while. Absolutely. Ryan says, how shit must Stoke be? We've kept a clean sheet. Chris Taufali, Chris says, happy with the win, but feels like we could, that we just scraped through. Need to be more inventive going forward. Wishing everyone a Merry Christmas, and you, Johnny Hornet. Cheers, Pete, and everyone. Love these spaces, always superb. Oh, I like that. Great win, Pete, says Ryan. Massive keeping a clean sheet. It's a lovely thing to do. Absolutely is. Always nice, let's be honest, to listen to Depeche Mode, the early Depeche Mode. Just can't get enough. It's wonderful. I've genuinely had it, and I said it about last season, that when it came on, it was only when they played that song that I realised, Christ, yes, we have won because we do this when we win. I kind of disconnected the two. Don't understand why people keep saying they like Semedo. The guy's incredibly lazy, says Jay. I haven't seen many people say they like Semedo, but okay, that's fine. I'm not down on the kid. I mean, he's very, very young, and he's quite willing. He's got pace. There was a moment where he came back and won a. Can't remember if it was a header now or a chest, but I remember going, "Oh right, he's done well then." And he's on loan as well. I mean, he's something. We're better with him in the squad available than not having him. We need some more forward cover, depending on what happened. Ryan said Stoke clearly can't do it on a cold afternoon in Watford. Well done, everybody. Why have we not seen this? Hey, look at that. That was sitting there all for us to pick up at any point. Jake said we got very lucky. I thought we was in a right game. Just glad we won. Great finish by Luca too. Happy Christmas, everyone. And Pidge says, wasn't a tale of two mid-table sides at the start because they were in the top 7 or 8 leading up to this. There you go. There you go. Well, look, you can be impressed or you can not be impressed with Stoke. It doesn't really matter, unless you're a Stoke fan, in which case, obviously, it matters. But, for us, I thought they have done very well. They have had a good season. They've had a couple of difficult results. But as we know with the Championship, it only takes a few defeats to fall back down, and it only takes a few wins to push back up, and that will have a huge difference on how we emotionally engage or fail to engage with the team, the club, the season, the management, everything, etc. But whatever it is, we've got to win, and that's really lovely. Let's finish with Watford limericks. On the whole, I am a positive bloke. I was hopeful for points against Stoke, though it took us a while. Luca's touch made me smile. From a loser free kick, master stroke. Look, if you support Watford, you probably didn't get into it because you thought you were going to win a load of trophies. But playing football matches, it's a lovely feeling getting a win. Sometimes you feel like kicking the cat when we lose. Please don't. We like to preserve our cats wherever we possibly can. But whatever it is, if you're a Watford fan, over the next few days, have a lovely, lovely time. Enjoy with friends and family. And we will reconvene after Leicester. The Leicester preview, which we did with Chris from Leicester Fans TV, will be out tomorrow. He's good fun. We talked about a lot of things, including, yes, that Leicester goal, that do not scratch your eyes goal, and other things. Thank you so much for supporting this and other podcasts. Other Watford fan podcasts are out there. For example, as I said earlier on, the Hornets, the Hornets Talk podcast. So look, thank you very much for being with us. 3 points. Go and enjoy it. Go and have a good night, and we will see you very soon. Come on, you horns. Cheers, guys.